All right, welcome to episode 162. Hey, Noel.
Hey,
How's it going?
it's going. I'm not really happy with the weather, but
Next 2 days in the upper 80s.
yeah, I was enjoying the fall.
I remember one place where I was at, where I worked at, people would argue over Indian summer.
Yeah.
Like, when is it? What's that really? And this might be it.
Yeah.
Because, right? Because September's too soon. October's probably, this would be the Indian summer, I think. And I'm not looking forward to it either because it's hot.
Yeah,
But-
anything that's amazing.
But then Gail has told us it's dropping down by Saturday. Friday it starts.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday, I think it was, or Friday and Saturday, I forget.
So we'll be back in the 50s for fall as we're ready. Robin's here. Hi, Robin.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing? Good. Good. Gail's here. No Jerry, but we might see him soon.
Gonna bring Gigi back?
I think so.
Let's see what do we have here. Chris is here. Hello, Chris. The stars. Why don't we talk about them before we bring Katie and Kevin in? You can support us if you like what we do. Send us stars. 99 cents gives us 100 of them. As many stars as we can accumulate, Facebook will give us some opportunities for advertising. Not only that, the money that we get from stars, goes back into maybe getting better equipment, doing
Hopefully we could do
Catch a Predator. Yes.
Yeah.
And all that. So 99 cents gets 100 stars. So if you want to give us like $5, that's cool.
Yeah.
Then 500 stars. But either way, thank you for everyone that's ever done it and those that are watching us. Why don't we get our guests? Let's bring them in. Don't want to keep them too long. All right, you guys know Katie and Kevin Riford. Let's bring them in, see how court went the other day. Hey, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
Hanging in there. How are you?
Yeah. Bitching about the weather. We were just complaining because it's going to be 87. But
Oh yeah, I'm ready for fall.
Yeah.
yeah,
Fall girl.
by Friday it's coming. So, Katie, what happened in Heartland Court?
Okay, so I have I took notes so I wouldn't forget anything. But basically what happened is I brought up a lot of concerns that I had on the record. One of them being that, the last time I was on the podcast, we talked about my appeals being, town court appeals being handled in Niagara Falls City Court instead of the county court where they need to be. So I brought that to the court's attention on the record. And I basically said, Justice Sullivan, what's going on with this? I know that county court is supposed to be handling my appeals. That county court's supposed to be handling my appeals. Assistant district attorney standing next to me, Cheryl Grundy, she knows where my appeals are supposed to be, and that's in the county court. So what's going on? And basically she said that she has no idea. She's not the one who arranges the appeals. And I was like thinking, and I told her on the record, I go, you're the justice on this case. You're presiding over this case illegally, but you're presiding over it. And I said, so you don't know how my case got into the Niagara Falls City Court? And she goes, no. And I go, okay, well, then who would know? And she tells me to reach out to Christine Kibler, who is the chief clerk of the county courts and the Supreme Courts in Niagara County. It's like the highest non-judicial position in the court system here in Niagara County. And she wants me to reach out to Christine Kibler, who told my brother during a recorded conversation on the phone that there's no criminal action to this case. So, I mean, come on now, that's a joke. So I brought that up. Obviously, it really got nowhere because we know that they know that it's not supposed to be there. So they're just going to feed me lines of, BS. Then I brought up how there is a major conflict of interest of Heartland Town Court. Now, when my case got transferred over to Heartland, that was like the fourth venue change. Technically, if I committed an alleged charge out of family court as a county court, it should be handled in Niagara County Court. But they've been having town courts pretty much preside over this, who have no jurisdiction over this alleged criminal charges. And I couldn't wrap my mind around why would they transfer it to Heartland. That was the fourth venue change. Why Heartland? Because that's 45 minutes away from my home in Wheatfield. There's many other closer options that, they could have picked over Heartland, which I lived in Niagara County for a majority of my life, and I never even heard of the town of Heartland. I don't know about you guys, but I know I never. It's the middle of nowhere, like very rural.
Yeah.
Probably population like what, 10,000, if that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Right. So, my brother, the person that he is with finding things out, discovered that there's actually a big financial vested interest that District Attorney Brian Seaman and his family have in that town court. Heartland town. Town of Heartland, sorry. And that is that his father and brother, who have the law firm Seaman Norris LLC, have a paid contract with the town of Heartland in which they are paid to be the town attorneys for that court. So now we can, and then even Brian Seaman even has worked there was he town attorney, I believe, at some point before his brother and father, I believe. So now we see why it was chosen there, because he has a major vested interest in his family. Yeah. So, I brought that to the court's attention. Of course, Justice Sullivan said that she doesn't see a problem with it. And I go, well, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a major conflict of interest when I intend, if this goes to trial, to call District Attorney Brian Seaman as a witness for his involvement in all this. And she goes, you're going to use him as a witness? I go, yes, I sure am. And then she goes, well, when we get to that point, then we'll figure it out. So there's another thing. Like, I can't even make some of this stuff up.
No, because they still, the fact that they can't explain why it's going to from Heartland to Niagara Falls. Yeah. I mean, it couldn't be any more different, any more, you know what I mean?
Right.
What in the world? And they can't tell you why.
Right, because I mean, I even still today have people, sending me messages like, "Why is your case in Heartland Town Court? Like, isn't this the county court case?" And I started in Wheatfield, then Town Court. I mean, we had a Wheatfield Town Justice signing a felony arrest warrant. Come on, and they love these town justices because they're indispensable. Justice Gronkowski is like in his 70s. So, he's probably looking for retirement any day now. And then, these justices in town courts, often in New York, they don't have to have a legal background. Like, they don't have to be, what do you call it? Judges. Like, they're not judges, like with law degrees or anything like that. You can just be anybody off the street. And as long as you get enough votes, guess what? You're ruling on somebody's case. And I think I hate that about New York. And I never really knew about it until, obviously my involvement in the court system. And New York is only one of the very few states in the United States of America that have that. And I don't like it. I think it's wrong. Oh,
because it's so, it's horribly corrupt, but how, when you got the electrician or the guy who's the plumber becoming that's even worse. It might be worse. Because I think is the old man here in town Niagara. I don't know if he still is, Foxo. He's not a lawyer. He's not anything like that. He was just like a plumber, I believe.
Yeah, so before Gary Strunkowski became justice, he owns Strunkowski Brothers Construction with his brothers. And then now he's, signing felony arrest warrants to illegally extradite me, or as I say, kidnap me from New Mexico and kidnap my children and hand them off to abusers. So, Niagara County likes using these town justices to do these things because, like I said, there's no real risk for these people when they're at the bottom of the totem pole versus, someone who earned a law degree and doesn't want to maybe necessarily risk that as much as somebody who's,
Definitely. Yeah, no, that makes all kinds of sense because why? Right. Yeah, because some of them guys won't do it. Yeah, they wouldn't do it. They definitely wouldn't do it. It's just amazing that this case was so high profile. Really high profile, that it's being, and now we're not even talking about that, right? We're talking about the second charge. We haven't even, when they kidnap you from New Mexico, I always get this confused. There was never a criminal charge ever.
So they claim that there was a felony.
Okay.
Okay. But I was never arraigned, even though
Right.
local media claimed I was and said I put in a plea of not guilty. That never happened. I was never arraigned, never read my charge. Like I said before, I was told by Pendleton Justice, who presided over the alleged arraignment in Cap Court, that it can be any felony. Like that was literally his words. It can be any felony. There was never a preliminary hearing. It was never presented in front of a grand jury. And then, so that was in March of 2022. And then miraculously in September of 2022, so like 6 months later, poof, the felony is gone. And they allege that there's misdemeanors now, that they dismissed the felony and that now it's 2 misdemeanors, 1 for each of my children, based on the same, charge of custodial interference.
Okay, now I get it. All right, so that's what's going on right now. Those 2 charts, right?
Right, but now we have a problem because in our state of New York we have this thing called the 30-30. It's right to a speedy trial. Essentially, things have to be done within a certain time frame, and obviously here I am 19 months later. 19 months, nothing has been done in these courts to move these alleged charges forward. It's just been bringing me in, belittling me, harassing me, that kind of thing. So we have the 30-30, that's like long gone. So there's that. Then it was brought to my attention, and it's on transcript here. This is like a public defender who looked at my the prosecutor's information, which is an accusatory instrument, which basically says what you're being charged with from the prosecutors, like the Niagara County District Attorney's Office. And I'm going to read this out word for word really quick. It's just a quick blip. And it says this. Let's see. Hopefully that she or somebody on her behalf had raised an issue that the accusatory instrument, which would be the prosecutor's information for the misdemeanor custodial interference, was a facially insufficient accusatory instrument. I believe that still would be today's situation where the accusatory instrument is not facially sufficient. It's not supported by non-hearsay allegations, and that therefore the court actually wouldn't have jurisdiction, I believe, for her. So they brought me back from New Mexico. They took my children, kidnapped them from me, and handed them to a documented abuser, knowing that piece of paper that they were showing everybody was not even a thing. Like there was never supported by evidence. Like they made up basically a date that they said I went into hiding to make it appear as though I left knowing I didn't have custody, which wasn't the case. When I went into hiding with my children, I had assumed custody, being an unwed mother who my children lived with in my home in the town of Wheatfield their whole entire lives, never once living with Peter Dyer Bakerly, who lived in Massachusetts and had little to no involvement, and didn't even want my children to be born, and so they made it appear as though I left on like the day after Judge DeLabio illegally signed a custody order. And that accusatory instrument, like there's nothing saying we know that she left on this date because we obtained airplane flight information, or we got we have a train ticket here with her name on it that left at this time and this date, like nothing. So they just basically used a bunch of hearsay things that are not supported in any way to show that I committed a crime. And they knew this from day one. They knew it. That's called malicious prosecution, when you know that you're bringing someone, ripping her children away from her, and you think that, you're going to try to get her to sign a plea deal knowing she didn't commit a crime. That's
like we were saying earlier, it's like cartel stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they do when they just jump out, grab them, and go. And the way you described the way it happened is just like it.
But the only difference is these are people who we were told to trust from the time that we're basically brought into the world. We're told to trust these people. These are people zipping up their black robes that we think that are always putting the best interest of children and victims and individuals, human beings, and they're not. These are human trafficking is happening in these courts by judges, attorneys,
you were you may be end up being the right person, but the wrong person, we were saying earlier, for them, because you're
Right.
not, obviously what's happening here, because you were right that they just look for vulnerability and people that have been, maybe they think have been hurt in the past or something. Because I
Right.
can't even imagine how many women have that have went through similar and just couldn't do nothing about it.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I explained to you like who I was back when I was in family court before I was forced into hiding is a lot different than who I am now. Like I found my voice. I have the support of my family. I was able to, kind of turn my situation around because I knew that if I didn't, that they were going to get away with kidnapping my children. I was not going to allow that to happen. So I basically, my family was like, you have to turn your grief into anger, get mad enough to get that voice and fight. And that's what I've been doing.
Like, well, that's similar. I think you're outside when I was saying this for the show. It's similar to like the sexual assault victims.
Yeah.
Like eventually, if they get the wrong one, look out. Because if you get the wrong one, then something all hell breaks. And that's not that things don't get made easy anymore. I could only God think about, and it probably goes on where they don't even have to they wouldn't even have to go to the level of what they did to you. They probably just do it every day, just right in there. They could be living right here in Niagara Falls or Niagara County. Just take the kid and it's over. Let me ask you something. Would you want an attorney or no?
It would definitely not be one from this area. I'm not completely closed off to an attorney. I think there are some attorneys out there who, are brave enough to fight the system. That's just the problem, is finding one who is willing to stand up at the same level that I am. Because obviously, I've said to the court, because, they always like to say, oh, we're going to hold you the same standard as an attorney, which they can't do. There's tons of case law out there that says that, someone representing themselves can't be held at the same standard as an attorney. But, obviously an attorney knows how to format motions and this and that, what to do to get this done instantaneously. And I've even said to the court, I don't claim to be an attorney. I don't, what I am is a mother fighting for my children and fighting for, the truth and justice and, yeah.
And there's no chance of a Niagara County attorney. I mean, that'd just be
no
way. Because they're never, and that's the one thing you said is I agree. You got to have an attorney that'll fight like you're going to fight.
Right.
Like they can't be someone's going to say, just all want to, sometimes they just want to, we see it, they back off.
Yeah.
And they just want it to end.
Just like, remember, I found that attorney from out of the state, and he tried calling every attorney in this area, and none of them wanted to take the case against Nick. None of them wanted to go against Nick. And he couldn't find one single attorney in this area besides Paul Barr. He did, but he said that it's ridiculous. He's never seen anything like it.
And that's another thing too with attorneys is like I've even called, the opposite side of New York, thinking, okay, someone's gonna just come in and take this case, because at the end of the day they get to fly back home and they don't have to see these people again. But a lot of people either know about the Niagara County situation over here. It's like deep state over here and they know it, so they're like, I'm not going over there. Or there's instances where our phones have been completely wiretapped, and I have Judge Hendages over in the IDV court telling me on record, oh, have you tried someone in Monroe County, knowing that I was calling someone in Monroe County. And the only way she would have known that is, So, I mean, these attorneys, when I talked to them, they're like, oh, yeah, I can do this. I just had a client that similar situation and I was able to help them. The next thing you know, they're starting to ask questions that that they're being, led to ask me, you know what I mean? So I'm not stupid. You
almost need, it's so crazy. You'd almost need one of those types of attorneys that are like in Washington, D.C., like a big deal, like kind of like the kind that come in when the police, when there's wrongful death.
Yeah.
Those types of things, like someone who just has no fear. What's that, Robin?
I must have called 12 attorneys when I was trying to find an attorney to take my initial sexual assault case. And same thing, like nobody wanted the case because nobody wanted to fight it. Like nobody wanted that
it wasn't worth the money.
Yeah,
It wasn't worth
and they
it.
knew they weren't going to get a lot of money for it, so they
Right.
just didn't want to do
Or
it.
you get one like Lindy Korn who just wants the
Yeah.
money, doesn't want to do anything, just wants to take your money.
Right. So let's ask real quick because we'll get right back. Kevin, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice
Hi,
to see you
Kevin.
too.
What's going on with Social Security numbers?
Oh yeah, so yeah, let me tell you a little about that. So yeah, like I told you guys last time on Niagara Gazette, did respond back, and essentially, what happened about that is I found out recently that they did end up writing an article about it, and essentially, the article, said that he had located or witnessed one social security number published on the what's now known as Search IQS, and he pretty much talked a little bit about that, a little bit about what the clerk of that office said. I believe his name is Jeremy Jastrzemski, I think it's pronounced. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And I guess pretty much what he said was that it's not widespread, and that but they took down all the records regarding it. So I guess my question, regarding that is, if it's not widespread, then why is everything taken down for the criminal records? Wouldn't it just make sense to identify the few that they're stating, pretty much indicating that are on there, then take down all the criminal public records? And I just thought it was weird that he only was able to find one social security number, because I obviously I've stated that there's hundreds, perhaps thousands, so obviously I'm knowledgeable to some extent regarding the amount that are on there. So I was just surprised that I believe his name is Mark Shear didn't ask for more, because I definitely could have provided him with some other ones to look into, as he's obviously a journalist, so I feel comfortable giving a journalist that information. I don't think they're going to do anything bad with it. So just really odd how he didn't ask for any other social security numbers. In fact, I was the one that had to actually kind of ask him if he wanted any, because he didn't really seem interested in the social security number aspect of things. Actually, what he ended up doing was asking me, about my sister, which, is fine. I answered all his questions to the best of my ability. I guess, in hindsight, it would have been nice to have, access to my notes, because he didn't allude that he wanted to talk to that before reaching out to me. He had just mentioned the social security numbers. So I thought, if he was going to ask about that, he would have asked, for my notes, or, not for my notes, but,
Right.
had me prepared so I could have looked at my notes to give him, 100%, accurate information. But, it is what it is. I just thought, I thought, Mark Shear would have been a great guy to look into this, because, I know Mr. Shear's family has been through the criminal justice system. Like, I think his wife, Kimberly Graval, has been through there. And I think even his daughter, Stephanie Raymond, has been through the criminal justice system. So I just thought it would have been good for him to, maybe he could ask them to, do you see your social security number online? Just knowing they've been through the system as well. I just thought that would have been good for him to, look at, but I don't, apparently he didn't. And when I asked him, does your news place use the Search IQS? He said that they do, but their subscription has expired. So I don't really know.
So I'm sorry. I mean, it's
That's
just
the thing with that too. 'Cause I know Mark Shear, he wrote a wonderful article about the podcast, and I love that he was able to do that for you guys. But our experience with him, I just want to say that I'm disappointed, because not only did he use an opportunity where my brother was trying to, help people who had their social security numbers exposed, but he used it to find out information about me. When I reach out to various things, I always have his email attached onto whatever I send out to show like the latest, thing that I have going on, or like about the case or evidence or this and that. And never once has he reached out to me. He did send me a friend request on Facebook at one point. I didn't entertain it just because I'm very selective of who I have on my Facebook for obvious reasons. A lot of my posts are public anyway, so I just didn't feel, the need to have, Mr. Shear as a Facebook friend at this time. But in the article, it's in the Niagara Gazette, was just published last week about the Social Security incident. He, found a way to plug my name into the report, basically saying that my brother, that I'm the sister of Kevin Riford, the one who came forward with the Social Security information, and basically described me as a woman who went into hiding during a custody battle. But never once did he mention the abuse or anything like that, which is really disappointing because, Mark Shearer, you have everything. You refer to things that are put out on Justice for Olivia and Mason on Facebook. You know about the abuse. You've seen all kinds of stuff. You know that I'm 19 months later sitting in the comfort of my home without any criminal charges. You know that my children and I have been kidnapped, that there's fake charges, and you chose not to write about any of that. You chose to write that I was a mother or not even a mother, a woman who went into hiding with my children, but never once said she was forced into hiding because of abuse. And by the way, here's an update. She hasn't been criminally charged because it was all fake. And that's what disappoints me, is like the local media here. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't just go one way and that's it. You have to present fairly for everybody, not who slips you money under the table or not. You have to report fairly for everybody, because that's why our country is in the predicament that it's in, is because things like the media who choose to ignore or slip things under the rug. And I'm sick of it. So, I'm going to call people out who aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like a journalist, you're supposed to be, showcasing the corruption that's going on in our county, and he didn't do that. So that's really disappointing.
That's very disappointing.
Yeah.
But
because he could have actually did a good thing and wrote.
Well, think about.
I mean, he could have actually helped her out. Like
definitely.
He has the opportunities and he has the connections to actually help her if he wanted to.
Right, and he even told my brother on the phone call that he had with him that he was going to come to my court appearance at Heartland, but he wasn't there. So I mean, you can't sit there and write about things that aren't the complete truth of the situation if you're not going to, present the truth or look for the truth or come to court appearances like you're saying you're going to. And I mean, that's why you sit there and wonder, well, how can this county have you in this like chokehold basically these past 19 months? It's because they see that in that courtroom, the gallery is pretty much empty. Thankfully I have my family who comes to these court appearances with me, but can you imagine, like they basically prey on these people who they know that, and I've been told even before by someone else in a similar situation to me, is nobody wants to get off their couch to help others. And that's why until we have empathy for others in their situation and say, no, this is not okay, what's happening to Katie and her children and her family, we're going to be there to support them and hold these people accountable and stand up for them. And they're going to keep doing this. And it's not just going to be just to me, it's going to be to others, because they see that nobody is there to, report on it accurately or what have you. I'm grateful for you guys for doing this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this truth going out there for people to see, because, everything that my brother and I have said, my sister, when she was on here with me, and we've always been able to substantiate it, back our claims up with truth. Like, you know what I mean? We've never, ever said anything about anybody unless or about the situation, unless we were 100% sure that it's accurate.
That's exactly what we were all about. Us. Yeah. That's all we're here for, is that. And It is disappointing in Mark Shearer in the Gazette. I mean, it was right there. I mean, it's a great not a great story. That's the wrong way to put it, but it's a hell of a story.
Right.
What has happened here is it's a made for TV movie. I mean, it's unreal, because like when you get your kids back, it will be a movie. I mean, that's how unbelievable this is, or something, or some sort of a book.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that I don't know what will become of it, but I do know that I'm not going to stop. My family's not going to stop until my situation is used as some kind of vehicle,
Yes.
so to prevent it from happening to anyone else, because it's not okay. It's disgusting. It's criminal, and yeah.
So now when's court again? When do you have to go back?
So
Did they
the
set it?
next one I have to go is November. Hold on, I have this written down. November 8th. 10 o'clock,
Heartland again?
of course. I'm always at a different time than everybody else.
Yeah.
Everyone else goes in the evening, but when it's a fake case, you can't have them intermingling with the real ones.
Yeah.
Basically, I have 2 weeks from the 26th of September 26th, 2 weeks from then. The justice, Joanne Sullivan, wants me to put in something in writing, whether it be a motion or what have you, to basically tell the court what I want, tell her what I want. So do I want these charges dismissed? Then I got to put that in writing, even though, and I've been telling them that this case is fake and that the judge has the ability to dismiss it right then and there. But, they're going to make me jump through hoops so that way they can kind of wrap it up and be like, oh yeah, Katie did bring up the fact that, this is a fake case and that it's past the 30-30 and that there's no merit to the charges and this and that. You're right. We're going to dismiss it. Something along those lines. Although if I do get it dismissed, I will be kind of disappointed because I have a whole list of witnesses that I intend to call up, from FBI agents to local law enforcement to, DA Steeman, Filicetti. I mean, that I think, being able to look at all these criminals, these predators in the eye as I question them about what they've done to my children, to my family, and to me would be something that, I would feel like I would get justice from. But
now then Niagara Falls, you got to go to Niagara Falls to appeal? Is that the family court stuff?
No, that's the town court, because I put in some order, or Americans with Disabilities Act, because I do have like PTSD and anxiety and stuff like that. I have letters from my doctor saying that, I should be getting virtual appearances because this is like affecting my health like, no other. I should be getting like CART services so I can basically read and listen to what I'm hearing at the same time to help with executive functioning, that kind of thing. And she basically denied me for a bunch of things that, by federal law, I'm supposed to be getting because of my disability. So I put stuff basically in for that, and she denied it. So I appealed it. There's like 4 different orders for various things, stupid things, but I appealed it nonetheless because I just wanted her to know that not only do I know how to appeal things, but, you're going to be exposed for what you're doing. And that's how I found out about, the Niagara Falls thing, where it's supposed to be handled over there. I don't think anything is going to become of it. If anything, they're just going to get themselves further in the hole for what they're doing, because it's not, it's illegal.
Right.
So,
and once they dismiss this, because you're probably right. I mean, they'll never let this go to trial, not in a million years, because they won't want that. They won't want them.
I told Justice Joanne Sullivan, I go, you know what, going to trial, there's nothing, I want it to go to trial because not only will it clear my name, but it's going to show in great detail this child trafficking criminal syndicate that's going on over here. And I want it to go to trial. So we'll see, but I highly doubt that they're going to want it to. And like I said, even if they do have it to go to trial, I think it would just be dismissed in an appeals court, because obviously these people are doing criminal things.
I think that's why they don't want it close. They want it as far away as possible so people don't get involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they basically made it like really hard because it's like 40 minutes away from where I am, so it's in the middle of nowhere. So like when it was at Riford, that's like 5 minutes from my home. People were able, like I had witnesses who were able to come easily. Now it's all the way across town, just like Gail said. They wanted to make it so it's in an impossible court venue.
They see the support you have. They see how many people are
Yes.
supporting you and have your back, and that scares the hell out of them.
They watched
Right.
what happened with the D'Angelo case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
will-
they do
Oh.
see the support I have. Like for one thing, so my sister has been kind of like my advocate, who I've been granted permission to have sit next to me at the attorney's table up front when I do my talking. It's just, obviously
Yeah.
when someone has PTSD, it's really reassuring to have somebody who they're familiar with, with them. Like I don't leave my home at any point without somebody like a family member. That's just where I am right now at this point in time because of everything that has happened to me. So my sister's sitting next to me, and then the assistant district attorney, Cheryl Grundy, she starts going off and accusing my sister of giving me legal advice because my sister and I are communicating on a pad of paper, which, we're allowed to do.
Yeah.
The only thing that the judge said was that, my sister can't give me legal advice, but my sister is not an attorney, so she wouldn't be giving me legal advice.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
right.
So Cheryl Grundy's going off, and I, basically gave it right back to her. And I go, one, you don't know what my sister is writing on this notepad to me. And two, it seems like Cheryl Grundy isn't upset that I have an advocate sitting next to me. It seems like Cheryl Grundy is upset that I have support of my family. And because of my family, they haven't been able to execute the plan that they wanted to. And that was to make me look like a criminal and to kidnap my children without anybody knowing, and to just, sell my children to abusers. And that's what they thought they were going to get away with. And they didn't, because 19 months later, I'm still standing. I'm still fighting. And they didn't get to pull off what they thought they were going to pull off.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they did not. And then last thing before I let you go, if they do dismiss it, then then you're going for then it's going to like for the kids, right? Because once you get this, then it's like straight after that.
Right. And I suspect there's going to be a lot of people who are in trouble for what they've done by putting fake charges that they knew were fake in order to, facilitate this trafficking of my children. It's not my place to say like, oh yeah, I want to see, like for instance, Judge Labio in prison. That's going to be something that God needs to decide on how he's wants that to be handled. But I do know that I'm going to do what I need to do as far as federal lawsuits or what have you, against these judges who did this. So they know that what they did was completely criminal, and that so it doesn't happen again. Because, each one of us, unless you've been told that you are unfit, and you have to have like a proper hearing for that and be proven unfit, there's complete standards that you can prove that someone's unfit. I don't know. And they have never done that. And the Constitution says that we all have the constitutional right to parent our children, to raise them as we see fit. Like, as long as we're a healthy parent, the state can't get involved and just take our children and sell them off. So I'm pretty much going to be done with state courts at this point, because they're all just going to, protect one another and cover up, because this is a whole RICO scheme they have going on, where they're profiting off of the trafficking of children. And I think federal court is going to have to see what has happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way, federal court, I guess, because there's no way you can't. Now you'll probably end up having to go. Do you think? No, you wouldn't. It'd be federal. Because I was going to say, I wondered if you would have to end up in Massachusetts at any point.
No, as far as I'm concerned, well, Massachusetts doesn't have jurisdiction over my children either, because they were kidnapped through fraud. Right. If anything, New Mexico would have jurisdiction over us, because we did become residents over there technically because of the duration we were living in New Mexico. And like I said to you before, I considered myself kidnapped along with my children, since we were taken from New Mexico through fraud, knowing that I did not commit a crime, but still taking my children and I out of New Mexico. So, New Mexico, I think, is going to have to help me get my children back. from these child traffickers.
Well, I'm going to leave it there for you guys. I've kept you now 40 minutes. I always tell you that last time was an hour. So you guys, Kevin, Katie, your sister, anybody at any time want to come on. I mean, we're going to get updates as you want to give them out. So whenever you want to give them out, just tell me and we'll put them out. But if you want to just come on at any point, like I'm saying, like the show's Monday, you feel like on Sunday you want to come on, just message us and you'll be on.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if there's ever any kind of like new developments or anything, I'd love to be able to share it with you guys.
And as soon as as quick as you want to, we're ready.
Okay, sounds good. And I really appreciate your support.
Well,
Thank you for coming.
We appreciate you. You guys are unbelievable.
We're here for you guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Good night. So Katie and Kevin Riford.
I can't imagine being in your situation. I don't know what I would do. And sadly, I know somebody else too that this is kind of happening to. Not as harsh as Katie's, but
Similar.
I mean, like similar, and it's just disgusting. It's so disgusting like that, and it's scary that the courts are allowed to do that. They're just getting away with it. Like they're not allowed to, but they are doing
it, and the media doesn't care, and
that would be a great story for the
that's
media.
What I was saying. Like, this is an unbelievable. This is the story of a lifetime.
This is the story that they want to report.
When she gets her kids back, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What has gone on here should be on TV somewhere. Someone should make a movie of it or a book because this is craziness. Speaking of something I want to bring up real quick, because you should probably keep your eyes open because it's right here in New York State. It happened. Her name is Charlotte Senna. Let me bring her picture up here. If I could find it. Darn it.
She's 9.
She's 9 years old. And they said she's 4'6", about 90 pounds. She went missing Saturday evening, camping at Moreau Lakes State Park, about 45 miles north of Albany. She's wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, dark blue pants, black Crocs, and gray bike helmet. I guess we should keep an eye out because at this point, she could be here.
Yeah,
I mean, she could be anywhere. Here's a better picture of her.
She's just riding her bicycle and she got taken.
Within 15 minutes or something.
What bothers me is that they didn't put out the Amber Alert for 12 hours.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
I wonder what that's all about. Does that make it? I don't know.
That gave whoever took her
12 hours.
12 hours. I mean, I think they're past the state line by now.
You would think. Could be in Canada. You never know where they are.
Exactly.
But I keep our eyes open around here because you never know. That's right. Why no Amber Alert? Good question. And Gail was just saying the same thing.
Everybody in New York State should have got Amber Alert. You would think that they would send it to everybody in New York State.
So there she is. You might see her though. You never know because these people, you don't know what they're going to do. And our area is a great place for child trafficking, as we know, a horrible place.
Right next to the border of Canada.
Yeah, perfect. The casino, everything else. You got the reservation. You got all kinds of things you can do. So please keep an. No, it's okay. Just please keep an eye out because we might see. You never know. Niagara Falls has had a lot of people have been seen here, either trying to get out of town, out of the border, things like that. So that is her name is Charlotte. What a horrible story. God Almighty. She was bike riding with cousins. The cousins, she just wanted to do it one time by herself.
Yeah.
And that was it. Because they'd said, I was reading at 6:15, the parents knew there was something wrong. At 6:45, they went looking, then they called the police 6:45, and they said the state police showed up at 7 p.m. So, I mean,
it's like every parent's worst nightmare.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because at that point right there, things were pretty. Think of it, the girl must have got taken around 6, is what they were saying.
Yeah.
Think about 6:15, they were like, oh my, this seems weird. So that person's all around in the area somewhere.
I hope that they don't find her.
Yeah, that I know. Yeah, definitely. It's a terrible story, but keep your eyes open because you never know. She says something about satanic places. Yeah, Saratoga. Next thing, real quick, I want to bring up before we show this video. On Wednesday, I just at 2:20 p.m. every phone, every TV, and every radio is going to have blasted on it a nationwide emergency alert test. So it's going to be very loud.
I know they're preparing.
And they're
preparing for something if they're testing this out.
It said Wednesday, October 4th at 2:20 p.m., every TV, radio, and cell phone in the United States will blast out a jarring electronic warning tone. And I kept reading, in the event there is an issue, they want to see if it works.
They should have done it for this girl.
Right? Yeah, and if they did before. Remember a couple times I got. Yeah, I know. I can't.
I did not get an alert on my
Me neither.
phone.
No, none of us
neither.
did. None of us did. No alert. So, anyways, get ready for that. I always hate those. Remember the one time they did do them?
Yeah. So if my volume is off,
It'll go off.
It
it'll
won't
go
matter.
off anyway.
All hell's gonna break loose. Well, you'll be at work, so.
I know it's gonna be in the locker.
But everyone will go off. The entire place, the people in there, everywhere. It's just gonna be one big
And even if it's on like do not disturb,
Sound.
it's gonna go off.
going off.
For those kind of alerts, they go off whether your phone is,
Yeah.
standby, whatever.
So it's gonna be chaos. That'll be interesting. I'll
I think
probably
I'm gonna
forget.
Turn my phone off and see if it actually comes through.
I think I might too. Just shut it right down. That'll be
Yeah.
interesting because I'm
Will there be a laptop?
I don't know.
gonna forget. I know. That's gonna be the problem.
Wednesday?
Yeah, 2:20 Wednesday is when we were told. Noelle, you sent I gotta put this out. This video clip.
I don't think this girl is kidding. I think she's pretty serious. And this is what we're trying to say. Like, we're not transphobic or anything like that. It's just there's stuff like this that makes
sense.
no sense and it's ridiculous.
And then we'll have a ton of questions.
Yeah.
You know, here, let's let her talk. She's about a minute long.
I cannot take him to a vet because I tried that, and the veterinarian told me that because he has human anatomy, that he does not know how to work on him or diagnose him with anything, and he legally cannot. So, and while I do think that is a form of discrimination, because, my son, if he says he's a cat, he is a cat. And he needs to be treated like that, like one, But I'm not going to press charges because I know that he could lose his license if he did work on my son. So I'm not gonna try to sue him or anything. So don't worry. But this is something that I want to raise awareness on, because I do think that people that identify as an animal should be able to go to the vet. That's the medical attention that they're wanting. And so I really do appreciate you asking this question. I think it's an important topic that we discuss, because
All right.
Okay, so when that child was born and she popped it out, was it a cat or was it a kid?
Right.
So if it was a kid, the vet cannot work on it. That is the stupidest thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
Yes.
I just can't tell if she's really that dumb or if she's doing this for wants attention or what, because you can't. It's just, how can you take that seriously? How?
I don't know, but as I know, there's cats going in the schools, right? There's
Yeah,
cats, or what
yeah.
do they call them? They're
Furries.
They're there.
This is ridiculous.
And the thing is this will continue and get bigger if people don't stand up to it.
Exactly. And where does it go next? Are we going to be zebras and
Well, sure. What's the difference
And
we're
between
going
a
to be
cat?
farm animals?
Anything
And
you want to be.
What if I want to be the
How-
guy who doesn't pay his bills?
how come when I identify people as assholes,
Oh well,
nobody,
that doesn't work.
yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
It's the political correctness that people are afraid of. If I speak up, people are going to look at me. They're going to say things about me.
Mhm.
I better either shut up or I better go along with it because I don't want to be looked at.
Right. Well, that's like last week, with the topic with the same topic on the show, and people will call us transphobic for it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But that's about being politically correct.
Mhm.
If I don't talk like they're telling me to and say, oh yeah, he should be a kitty,
Right.
then you're going to be looked at. Well,
Right.
I don't believe anybody should be identifying as anything but what they were born
I hope that
as.
pisses the trans
Right.
community off.
Sorry, I
You-
just don't.
I hope that actually pisses the trans community off. That they're
And again-
acting like that and saying,
Going back about 20 years or so, when I first became a nurse and I was working in that clinic, and I had a guy come in and dressed as a girl. So,
Right.
he wanted to be the girl. That's fine. You could dress any way
Sure.
you want. But when he told me that he was going to use the girls' bathrooms and showers, and I told him no, he got mad. So I called in the counselor, and the counselor said, no, as long as you have male parts, you will use the male bathroom. use it when nobody else is in it, if we have to make a different time for you, whatever. But you say that now and you get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah, big trouble. Yeah,
Mhm.
you get in big.
But
Yeah.
I had that situation happen
Wow. And how long ago was
And
that? Would you say?
about 20 years ago.
Wow,
And look
20
at
years
what
ago.
happens
Look where
because
we are.
we didn't stop it. Now we have furries.
Yeah.
Brittany
Exactly.
says, so if I decide I'm a rock, then who will take care of my boo-boos, a geologist?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. We were talking before the show about it now. Okay, so now your child is a cat. So does that mean he has no more protection under the Constitution for being
Like
a human?
it's not allowed in stores. It's like
Can he vote?
Can he vote? Yeah, did we take his voting right? Can he no longer, again, we're getting into that weird part of consent again. I feel like when we're talking like this. This is weird stuff.
Right.
Because how can the cat consent to anything? Or not?
Exactly. And again,
So-
you go back to a child not being able to make their own decisions up until a certain age. So it's really the parents who are saying, yeah, my kid wants to be a cat.
Right.
It's not the kid because the kid can't do that.
Right.
Right. And a parent could tell the kid, no, if they thought they were a cat for some reason.
Well,
We had kids do
told me
that.
they were cats.
We've seen that before. Where
Yeah.
they meow,
Or they
because they
want to
like
be
cats.
Superman and they
Yeah.
jump
Right,
Superman.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if the kid decides that he wants to jump off the building because he's Superman, does everybody have to stand back and let him do it?
And then
I'm Superman.
And I
I
think-
want to jump.
I think Dennis said it best. Like if you get tattooed with, if you're 7 years old and you like Paw Patrol, by the time you're 12, you might not like Paw Patrol. So you know what I mean? That's gonna be. You might not want to be a cat.
Right.
But so then what happens? Now we're really
Now he's lying.
right. So I don't know. I guess then they're no longer citizens under the Constitution because they'd be cats.
Yeah.
How weird. I don't know what to
And the
say
parent
And you
should
have to
be
go to City
beaten.
Hall and change your birth certificate.
to cat.
You should.
You'd have to go to then you'd have to go to the SPCA or whatever they would do. They'd have to microchip you.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
I mean,
This is insanity.
and you still can't get seen by a vet. So now we're going to have doctors become some kind of a special doctor to treat the cats and the dogs and everything else that are actually human.
Right.
Because we've gone beyond gender. We're now in
Right.
species.
Parents
So
should be arrested.
for a
when
lot,
this
yeah, you
happens.
can't allow.
Really
When your child is a cat, you
you're
should go to
allowing,
jail.
you're okay with it and just going along with it. Like,
Or the whole family should turn into cats.
Right.
Oh, you're a cat too, Mom.
Yeah.
Right. And you have cat rights.
Right.
They have no right. That's what I mean. This is insanity. And
They should live on, live on the streets like
And what
stupid
did that-
cats do.
did you say Niagara Falls High School? And they see when they get older and they're wearing
There's,
hats.
there's a post that Niagara Falls High School has a litter box in the bathroom.
I would die. I would die. Now, see, if I was a parent there, I'd be in there saying, my child is not allowed to use that bathroom. You get my child a special bathroom.
Right.
Yeah, because they're gonna go to the.
When I was in high
Can't
school,
even
and I seen
imagine.
somebody in there in a litter box. Do you know how?
All hell would break loose. Yeah, I mean,
I would,
what would go
They
on?
do.
Yeah, of course. Because how does that happen?
do they want their kids to get made fun of?
Right.
You know, the whole Niagara Falls High School people, in Niagara Falls High School
Everyone.
are.
Kids can't handle.
They're cool.
I can't handle that. I'm 50s. I can't handle. See, what are they talking about? I don't know, Rob. I
Yeah.
don't know what you did to cause this.
Yeah, it wasn't
you
me.
did something.
Yeah, but the thing
That's
is, the
nuts.
people have to stand up. Quit trying to be politically correct and afraid. If
Agreed.
you're gonna say what you're gonna say, then say it, and don't be afraid that people are gonna look at you back. Some people might, but you know how many other people will stand behind you.
Right.
So
It's a pretty silent
yeah, use
majority. Excuse me.
your strength and speak up, and don't let everybody.
And that's why the school boards are a disgrace. What are they doing?
Right.
Someone speak up. I don't care what the state tells you. You can still.
Right.
We've seen them fight back against the state. They will when it comes to money or things like that. They'll
Mhm.
fight.
Right.
So
They'll
why-
fight against paying sexual assault.
Yes,
survivors.
they're currently fighting.
Yeah.
But they can't fight.
Maybe they're too busy, dug into
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
sure that the sexual assault survivors don't get anything to worry about the cats that are in their bathroom.
All of it though, like even the thing with the teacher we ended up talking about. That was another issue.
Yeah.
We had it. Was it Geraldine Mann?
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, why isn't anyone saying anything? Why
Right.
wouldn't anyone think there's something like even when they get the thing from the state of New York that we have it, page 54 and 55 about gender identity.
Mhm.
You're telling me that those people that are on the Niagara Falls School Board that a lot of us would know are for that.
Right.
I guess they are, because them saying nothing tells me they are.
What about
That's
the
what I
other
suggest.
teachers at TJ Man? Why aren't they saying?
I know why. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they're scared.
Right.
They can't say nothing. That's why they put it there, right? That was the reason
and
they
that goes
put that
back to
there.
exactly what Gail was saying. You know, everybody's afraid to say anything because, oh, my job, oh, the way people are going to look at me, oh, this, oh, that. Well, that's why we're having these issues, because nobody feels like they can speak up. And that's what it's going to take, is for all of us to speak up and stop, put an end to this before it goes any further.
And you know what? Those people have to be in the minority who are saying
Yeah.
I'm a cat and stuff like that. What about the majority of the people who really don't agree with it? Why are we letting the minority overtake the majority?
Yep.
You know,
Why?
and it's constantly happening.
Yeah,
Yep.
why? There can't be that many people out there.
Cats
There's
and
more
dogs.
of them than there are of the people who don't believe in it and don't want to see this happen.
Right. Well, we're going to keep waiting to the point where it's going to be where 50% of the population are cats,
Yeah.
and
Well,
then
and you argue with it. You saw what happened on our Facebook page when we were talking about the
Oh, yeah.
teacher. Holy cow! The people that come out of the
So
woodwork,
much.
they were very upset, and I don't even know what they were upset about,
Yeah.
because they jumped to hatred and they jumped to
They don't know how to have a
transphobia,
conversation. They
Well-
don't. They just want to jump to argue.
to that, to where
Yeah.
we're hateful when you're talking about. Well, first off, we're not even talking about anything. We're just saying what the parents told us
Yeah.
when they called us. We were just repeating what they wanted us to say.
and let's be honest, I mean, normal people don't think it's okay to be a different species.
When then
I
we're
mean, it's one thing when,
You get diagnosed.
no, but I'm
crazy
talking about the
back in day.
teacher
Yeah.
situation where it was teacher.
yeah,
Now that was a little different because we were talking. Now we're talking about we're undeclared. Remember, it wasn't man
Yeah.
or woman. It was nothing or not, whatever you want to say.
It was just
We couldn't even speak about it without getting it, without the backlash.
yeah.
We got our show taken down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it got.
Well, we put it back up.
Yeah,
so whoever reported
YouTube
it-
doesn't do it. That's what's good.
Now, let me remind everybody really
Yeah, go
quick
ahead.
since it got taken down. John Patrician, who
Oh, yeah.
lives on the end of 66 and 65th Street on Buffalo Avenue. He, God, I don't want to say the words again because I don't want to get it taken down. He FHOT a dog in the head 3 times and unalived it. Because those are the words you gotta use on
Unlived
TikTok.
it.
Those are the words you gotta use on TikTok, so I'm sure it'll be safe for Facebook. And because he was an ex-Niagara Falls police officer, they just allowed him to get away with it. But that dog wasn't attacking him, nothing. But because it was a pit bull, he did what he did. He killed a family dog, somebody's dog that they loved, and lived with 5 kids. Dragged its body across and laid it on her lawn, and just left it there for
For her 5 kids to
5
find.
kids to find.
Do you know of anything? Have you heard anything about it?
Can't
Nothing
say
I'm allowed to
anything,
say.
no.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I do know that something
Well,
I
it's got
believe
blacked out
will
right there.
happen to.
You've heard something? Rumor has it.
Rumor has something might happen to John Patrician.
Good.
Yeah,
Oh, good. I'm
because they are
glad.
finding some stuff out.
Because I knew last we spoke about this, there was that possibility
Yeah.
that there could be an investigation opened.
There should be.
So that's good. Send me the links. I'll share this. Yes, we'll send you the links for sure. Say Stacy.
She wants the one which
I think Patrician.
Patrician. Oh, it's I'll tag her in the.
Yeah.
I think it's all on my Facebook. Also, Nick D'Angelo supposedly moved to Sanborn.
Yeah.
So, and he's getting out in a month.
Right.
And
Right.
that went by
Oh,
so quick.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it
October
sure
2nd.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a month and he's out. And we still don't know what level of sex offender he's going to be at. But if he's anything less than a level 3, there's going to be problems.
Let's see where he's in. Sanborn will be interesting to
Yeah.
know how close he is to children.
So if anybody lives in Sanborn or knows anybody in Sanborn, just know that you have a pedophile, a sexual predator that lives there now in your
Big time
neighborhood.
predator. Yeah.
And he doesn't go for just girls, he goes for boys as well.
This is a serial rapist.
Yeah.
Just no doubt. I mean, because you go through the timeline and through the years and everything that's gone on.
A
It's
violent serial.
It's what he is.
Yeah.
And he got away with it. I never heard of anything like this. He got 4 months in jail
Yeah.
for all the damage he's done. So You're gonna have to keep an eye out. There's
Yeah.
nothing else you can do because it's not gonna stop.
And don't just keep an eye out in Sanborn. I would keep an eye
Oh, he'll
out.
be here.
he'll be
Yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, this is where he's coming.
Right. He'll be around here. I'm sure.
Out North Tonawanda.
Oh, he's gonna be here. He's
Yeah.
not gonna avoid this place. He's got a, got a lot of friends and
We've got a lot of people who are on drugs and he abuses that he's gotta
go see.
make sure he.
Helps them out. All right, why don't we let's wrap it up. It's gonna be hot
Yeah.
tomorrow, so get ready for the heat. And I think we'll go. What else? Anything else, guys? Nothing? Gail, Robin, anything?
No.
No? Well, nothing? Yeah, I think we're done. That was episode 162, and thanks to Katie and Kevin and all them. And next week we'll have something new to talk about. Oh, you know what? One thing I want to bring up, Jennifer Lemoy. Remember her?
Yes.
I'll give her credit, man. She got on the ballot for this election for the stupid city council in Niagara Falls. Well, they ended up letting her, she fought them, and now they're going to let her be on the debate stage. So Jennifer will be on the debate stage, and maybe we'll ask her to come on. She could tell us what she's going to do for the city.
Yeah.
Get her on here for a little bit and see if she'll tell us what her plans are. That's about it. All right, guys, we will be back next week, same time, same place. If anything else comes up in between, always, Noelle has tons of stuff coming out. I usually just copy it from her and put it on Citizens United. TikTok, Citizens United. X is also Citizens United. Rumble has Citizens United on it.
Text Twitter now.
Mhm.
I deleted it on my phone because I thought that.
With something else?
Yeah.
Yeah. X.
And I don't know how to get back on my.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You probably don't know your password and
No.
stuff. Yeah. I'm the same way. I don't know my password. Do you? You don't either, probably. Would
I
you
might
know?
now that because I did my new phone.
Good for you. Well, all right. Why don't we get out of here? Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.